All right, Charles, let me ask you some follow-up questions based on last week's conversation. If you haven't seen that, it's right here on Charles's YouTube channel. You can hear us talk a little bit more about the execution trap. And in fact, I want to start today's conversation asking you, what is the first concrete sign that someone is ready to move from execution into leadership? And does one actually notice that themselves, or do people around them usually tell them, hey, I think you're ready for something better? I think you're ready for something bigger?
Man, I mean, there's a lot of moving pieces to that. Ideally, if you're a part of a growth centric, supportive learning organization, they're going to recognize the leadership potential within you. They're going to take responsibility for giving you opportunities to grow into that leadership. They're going to nurture that. They're going to culture that. They're going to encourage that, right? The problem is, though, that not all organizations are like that. And especially in this space where we talk about that really weird position of being a project manager, because it's so heavily focused on execution, 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 execution. Project managers, that role, that entire function of executing projects is what makes the money. That's what generates the revenue. That's the actual real work that delivers real deliverables that generates revenue. So just by the nature of its existence, being a project manager just wants to hold you in that execution position so strongly and so firmly. So do you recognize it in yourself? Well, yeah, I mean, we've kind of had this conversation before. There are some people who aspire to be more. I want to do more. I want to have this impact. I want to blah, blah, blah. And for whatever reasons, right? We're not going to judge whether that's for significance or contribution or just you want to make some more money and buy a bigger house. We're not going to judge what those motivations are. But yeah, I mean, we all have our own internal compass of what our level of aspiration is, right? Like, I want to be in that position someday and I want to do that. It's not enough to just apply for that position and have the certifications, right? So the more nuanced question is, are you demonstrating leadership? And this is the fun part of getting into this debate with people about the difference between management and leadership, because leadership can exist absolutely anywhere, right? I know leaders in high school, right? High school sophomores and high school juniors who are leaders. Well, how is that? Well, because they take responsibility for the people in their care. That's probably the simplest definition I could give you of leadership: stewardship, just taking care of the people that you're responsible for. That's leadership right there in itself. You can do that in any position, in any role, in any industry. So if you really care about your people and you take responsibility for their well-being, for their success, like specifically in a professional setting, if you take responsibility for other people's success, you're a leader. So then what do you do with it? And if you're not being able to exercise that to your fullest potential in the role that you're in, okay, now you need to get strategic about, how do I take this fire in my belly? How do I take this, need to lead and get myself into a position where I can impact more people, right? That's how it happened for me. The first time I was a leader, it was 5 other people. And I was like, oh my gosh, that was so much fun. Leading that team, doing that evolution, having this kind of success, watching everybody really enjoy. Oh my gosh, now I want to do that for 15 people. Now I want to do that for 50 people. Now I want to do that for 500 people. So that's really the only difference of climbing up that leadership ladder, is how many more lives do you get to influence? But be careful, because the more people that there are that you influence, the more grave your potential for kind of screwing that up or doing absolutely amazingly wonderful things.
That was going to be my follow-up question. So we've spoken about the execution trap and the consequences of that. And again, I'm not going to go deep into that. If people want to listen into all of the to all of that, just go watch the last week's episode. But is there an equivalent trap for leaders where they climb up a little too fast and they stop losing touch
Yeah.
with the actual work?
Dude, I mean, this is one of the oldest cliches in business, right? People are promoted to their highest level of incompetence. That's exactly what happens. Is their reach overextends beyond their grasp, right? Now I want to lead 500 people. Now I want to lead 5,000 people. Yeah, but are you growing? Are you
Right.
capable? Probably the easiest, simplest analogy to follow along with this is let's just say like kids sports, right? Let's say soccer. Okay, when you're coaching 6 and 8 year old kids, at least in the States, okay, not in Europe. In Europe, 6 or 8, it's already too late. You're already pegged for the pros or not. But here, 6 or 8 year old kids, it's still recreational. Those coaches, they're somebody's parent. I coached my son's team and my daughter's team at that level. Why? Because basic understanding of the sport, just care for the kids. Can I teach a couple of basic concepts? Yup. Could I then? So what's the next level? Well, then what about 12 to 14-year-olds on a travel team? Ooh, stakes are a little bit higher. The strategy's a little bit more sophisticated, isn't it? You're working with a lot more specialized players who have specialized needs. Are you as a coach capable? Ooh, hang on. Well, what about coaching at a high school level, a college level, the pro Premier League? Whoa. All of a sudden, like, no. I was perfectly happy coaching a bunch of kids because I love the sport, that kind of thing. But there's a point in there where, okay, I'm not a good enough coach. I'm letting the team down. These players deserve someone who has a better understanding of the game than my understanding of the game. We need to recognize that at leaders, because sometimes some of those leaders, they get into that track and it's like, here you go, here you go, here you go, here you go, here you go. And the next thing you know, they wake up and they are in way over their head. Way over their head. Why? They stopped learning. The strategies that worked for 15 people do not work for 50 people. The level of complexity is exponentially greater with 50 people than there is with 15 people. You can control 15 people. You can micromanage 15 people. Yep, all day long. That can look like success. 50 people, all of a sudden, holy shit, I can't do this. There's too many of them. There's too many moving parts. I'm losing things. I'm missing things. What worked for me at this level does not work at this level. And you as a leader need to be able to recognize that. And unfortunately, many don't. They blame the team. They start shuffling people around. Oh my God. That's 5 more episodes right there for us to talk about.
So I think you touched on something important, which is the fact that leaders need to continue to learn. So why don't you share how you continue to learn? I mean, you're a PMP professional. You've been leading teams for I don't know how many years now, Charles. Uh,
Yeah.
how do you stay? How do you stay in touch with reality and say, okay, I need to continue to grow and invest in myself? How do you do it?
I swear to God, this is a trait. This isn't a training curriculum. This is a trait, which is humility and curiosity. My personal motto that I've shared with you way too many times. We're going to make t-shirts, by the way. We got to do this. Uh, Everyone has value. Okay, that is the greatest leadership mantra I could ever have assigned myself. And I recognize this very early in my professional career. Actually, I learned this lesson by training and teaching martial arts. That's where I learned this lesson. I had a fantastic freaking sensei. This one kid couldn't get his back kick. Like, it was horrible. It's like, oh my God, this kid sucks. And my sensei said, oh yeah, look at his crescent kick. Oh, okay, shit. All right. Stop practicing your back kick. You're never going to get the back kick. Let's focus on your crescent kick. That thing is gorgeous, a work of art. That concept I carried over into my professional life. Excuse me. So I lost track of your question, but how do I keep? I have two things. Firstly, at no point do I ever walk into a situation and say, I know everything. I know how to fix it. I know what I'm going to do. That's not my job anymore. It hasn't been my job since I left execution and moved into leadership. My job in leadership is not to know. My job in leadership is to facilitate, develop, ensure, encourage, all those types of words, right? The other is curiosity. I am very, very quick to ask, why are you guys doing it that way? How did we get here? Why was this like that? What happened over here? Asking those questions, not coming in with, okay, I see the surface level problem, and so I'm going to dictate that now we're doing this. Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. You don't know how we got here. So those surface level solutions, I'm always very, very wary of. But what keeps me ahead of, or at least, and I want to phrase this actually carefully. I don't want to say ahead of the team. What I really want to say is what ensures that my presence is of value to the team is I know my role. I know that my job is to remove barriers and boundaries so that they can be successful, period. I don't care where you put me. Put me in a $500 a month landscaping business, put me in a $500 million a month construction business, and that philosophy kicks ass, kills it, ensures that whatever that scale is, that philosophy that I just shared is scalable. So I don't care how many people I'm leading. I don't care how big the stakes are. That philosophy of leadership, which is stay humble, stay curious, and ensure their success. What can I do to make you more successful? That's it. And then the team is the one who delivers, right?
I think I want to keep it short and sweet this week. I think that was a bunch of golden nuggets packed into a 10-minute conversation. So appreciate your time, mister.
Awesome.